की जय, भक्ति देवी
जय,
गंगामाई की जय, यमुना माई की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय।
जय।
हरे कृष्णा। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Gauranga. Hare Krishna. Wish you all a very happy Balaram Jayanti. I am in India and it is celebrated tomorrow here. So pray to Lord Balaram to give us the spiritual strength to practice devotional service. So we will discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, Text 13, and then maybe the last 10-15 minutes we can discuss about the glories of Lord Balaram. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayet Shunvatham Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantastoi Abhadrani Vidunoti Surhutsatam Nashta Prayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We'll recite from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 12, text number 13. I'll recite the shloka 3 times, and then whoever would like to recite can do so. Tasya prita mana raja viprerdhaumya kripadibihi jatakam karayam asa vachayitva chamangalam. Tasya prita mana raja viprerdhaumya kripadibihi jatakam karayam asa vachayitva chamangalam. Tasya prita mana raja viprerdhaumya kripadibihi jatakam karayam asa vachayitva chamangalam.
Hare Krishna. Tasya Pritamana Raja Viprerdhaumya Kripadibihi Jatakam Karayamasa Vachayitva cha Mangalam.
Hare Krishna. Tasya Prita Manaraja Vipriridhauma Kripadevihi Jatakam Karayam Asha Vachayat Vacha Mangalam. Hare Krishna.
Tasya Prita Manaraja Vipriridhaumya Kripadibihi Jatakam Karayam Asha Vachayitva cha Mangalam.
Hare Krishna. Tasya prita mana raja vipredro mya kripadibhihi jatakam karayamasa vachayitva cha mangalam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Tasya prita mana raja vipredhomya kripadibihi jatakam karyayama asa vachayitva cha mangalam.
Tasya prita manaraja विप्रैर्धौम्या कृपादिभिः जातकं कार्यमासा वाचयित्वा च मङ्गलम्.
Anyone else? Okay. Synonyms, translation and purport by His Divine Grace Abhayacharna Aravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Tasya, his, Prita Manaha, satisfied, Raja, King Yudhishthira, Vipre, by the learned Brahmanas, Dhaumya, Dhaumya, Kripa, Adibihi, and others also, Jatakam, one of the purificatory processes performed just after the birth of a child. Karayam Asa, had them performed. Vachayitva, by recitation. Cha, also. Mangalam, auspicious. Translation: King Yudhishthira, who was very satisfied with the birth of Maharaj Parikshit, had the purificatory process of birth performed. Learned Brahmanas, headed by Daumya and Kripa, recited auspicious hymns. Purport: there is a need for a good and intelligent class of Brahmanas who are expert in performing the purificatory processes prescribed in the system of Varnashrama Dharma. Unless such purificatory processes are performed, there is no possibility of good population. And in the age of Kali, the population all over the world is of Sudra quality or lower for want of this purificatory process. It is not possible, however, to revive the Vedic process of purification in this age for want of proper facilities and good brahmanas. But there is the Pancharatrika system also recommended for this age. The Pancharatrika system acts on the Sudra class of men, supposedly the population of the Kali Yuga, and it is the prescribed purificatory process suitable to the age and time. Such a purificatory process is allowed only for spiritual upliftment and not for any other purpose. Spiritual upliftment is never conditioned by higher or lower parentage. After the Garbhadana purificatory process, there are certain other samskaras like Simantonnayana, Sadavakshanam, etc. during the period of pregnancy. And when the child is born, the first purificatory process is Jata Karma. This was performed duly by Maharaj Yudhishthira with the help of good and learned Brahmanas like Dhaumya, the royal priest, and Kripacharya, who was not only a priest but also a great general. Both these learned and perfect priests, assisted by other good Brahmanas, were employed by Maharaj Yudhishthira to perform the ceremony. Therefore, all the samskaras, purificatory processes, are not mere formalities or social functions only, but they are all for practical purposes and can be successfully performed by expert Brahmanas like Dhaumya and Kripa. Such Brahmanas are not only rare, but also not available in this age, and therefore, for the purpose of spiritual upliftment in this fallen age, the Goswamis prefer the purificatory processes under Pancharatrika formulas to the Vedic rites. Kripacharya is the son of the great Rishi Sardban and was born in the family of Gautama. The birth is said to be accidental. By chance, the great Rishi Sardban met Janapadi, a famous society girl of heaven, and the Rishi Sardban discharged semen in two parts. By one part, immediately a male child, and by the other part, a female child were born as twins. The male child was later on known as Kripa, and the female child was known as Kripi. Maharaj Shantanu, while engaged in chase in the jungle, picked up the children and brought them up to the Brahmanical status by the proper purificatory process. Kripacharya later became a great general like Dronacharya, and his sister was married to Dronacharya. Kripacharya later on took part in the battle of Kurukshetra and joined the party of Duryodhan. Kripacharya helped kill Abhimanyu, the father of Maharaj Parikshit, but he was still held in esteem by the family of the Pandavas due to his being as great a Brahmana as Dronacharya. When the Pandavas were sent to the forest after being defeated in the gambling game with Duryodhan, Dhritarashtra entrusted the Pandavas to Kripacharya for guidance. After the end of the battle, Kripacharya again became a member of the royal assembly, and he was called during the birth of Maharaj Parikshit for the recitation of auspicious Vedic hymns to make the ceremony successful. Maharaj Yudhishthira, while quitting the palace for his great departure to the Himalayas, entrusted Kripacharya with Maharaj Parikshit as his disciple, and he left home satisfied because of Kripacharya's taking charge of Maharaj Parikshit. The great administrators, kings, and emperors were always under the guidance of learned Brahmanas like Kripacharya, and thus were able to act properly in the discharge of political responsibilities. Oh, Smorha. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishpashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining and for giving me the opportunity to speak. I am certainly not qualified to speak, but I'm very grateful for this opportunity to read, study, and discuss from Srimad Bhagavatam. And I seek permission and blessings from all the devotees who are assembled today on this call, so I can speak what I have heard and read, primarily for my own purification. Yeah, so I'll recite the translation again. King Yudhishthira, who was very satisfied with the birth of Maharaj Parikshit, had the purificatory process of birth performed. Learned Brahmanas, headed by Dhaumya and Kripa, recited auspicious hymns. This shloka is talking about the birth of Parikshit Maharaj and how Yudhishthira Maharaj performed all the sanskaras. Actually, it is the duty of the father to perform all the sanskaras, right? But Abhimanyu was not there. Yeah. So Yudhishthira Maharaj did all these sanskaras, and actually he took the responsibility and made him a great emperor. Only after doing this, as Prabhupada writes in the purport, in the later part of the purport, only after fulfilling his responsibilities, because he was the only one left in the dynasty, right? Parikshit Maharaj, after he enthroned him as the king, then only Yudhishthira Maharaj could retire from worldly activities. You know, it's interesting. I was just going back and referring to the previous chapters. Anybody remembers where this mention of Parikshit Maharaj came about his birth first? I went back and checked. It was in the 8th chapter, the prayers of Queen Kunti. You know, when Ashwadhama releases that Brahmastra, right? And then Uttara comes running to Krishna, although everybody is there, all the Pandavas are there, Bhishma is, everybody is there, but she only comes running to Krishna to protect. Generally, women will go to her husband or father-in-law or whoever, but she went directly to Krishna. Anyways, the point was, it started there where, oh, there is a baby in my womb, right? Parikshit is there in the womb of Mother Uttara, and she runs to Krishna asking for protection. From there it started, and then Queen Kunti's prayers, she was glorifying Krishna, right? And then what happened? Of course, the Brahmastra was neutralized by Krishna. And then in the 9th chapter was glorification of Bhishma Dev, passing away of Bhishma Dev. Then the 10th chapter was Krishna leaving from Hastinapur. 11th chapter is Dwarka Vasis welcoming Krishna. So now all the sages are saying, hey, let's go back. You started with Parikshit Maharaj. Tell us more about him. So we want to know more about Parikshit Maharaj. What happened? Okay, now, he was saved. So the sages ask, please give us more details about Parikshit Maharaj. So it is explained in this chapter, that the birth of Parikshit, right? This is the chapter's title is the birth of Emperor Parikshit. Yeah. And the birth of Parikshit Maharaj is very auspicious, extraordinary. It's no ordinary birth. And so are his activities. And we will discuss that his quitting the body was also very auspicious in the subsequent chapters. So his birth is so extraordinary. His activities were so extraordinary. His quitting his body will also be extraordinary. Yeah. Now, and even before he was born, when he was in his mother's womb, since he was protected personally by the Lord, he was fortunate to get the glimpse of the Lord, glimpse of the Lord, and that's why he was named Parikshit, right? And all of you know, what is the meaning of the word Parikshit?
He's always examining. Parikshit.
Yes, examining. Yes, examiner, constantly doing pariksha, exam. Parikshit. So what is he doing? He kept on examining every person he saw. Every person he saw, he was examining. Is this that great personality I saw when I was in my mother's womb? Is this that great personality when I saw when I was, every person he's examining like this. Is this Krishna? Is this Krishna? Is this Krishna? So just it tells us the consciousness of Parikshit Maharaj, the mind of Parikshit Maharaj. If somebody is constantly doing this, what does it tell? That in his mind, he was always Krishna conscious. And on top of this, we see he was not born in any ordinary family. And that comes to the point of, part of our discussion. He was not born in any ordinary family. He was born in the family of the Pandavas, great devotees. So right from the beginning, the impetus for devotional service, when you are born in the family of great devotees, naturally the family is so fully engaged in Krishna consciousness, right? Everybody is constantly thinking, remembering, serving, hearing, chanting the Lord's glories, glorifying the Lord, hearing the pastime, serving, engaging in so many wonderful festivals. So it naturally gives the child an impetus, right, for devotional service. So here it is mentioned that Yudhishthira Maharaj performed the samskaras for Parikshit Maharaj, and whom he performed it under the guidance of, who are the two personalities that we just mentioned in the words?
Dhaumya and Kripacharya.
Daumya and Kripacharya. Thank you so much, Mataji. So under the guide, and they were the ones who chanted the Vedic hymns. Now, in today's verse, in the purport, Prabhupada elaborately discusses about Kripacharya. It is self-explanatory, so I will not talk about that. But in the 9th chapter, I think, if I'm not wrong, let me see. About Dhaumya, it's all discussed. I will see if I can share the link. But in the 9th chapter, if I'm not wrong, it is discussed about Dhaumya. Yeah, Canto 1, chapter 9, text 6 and 7. So if anybody wants, I don't want to spend too much time about discussing about who they are and their qualities and the greatness of Dhaumya is discussed in 1.9.6 and 7. Yeah. So samskaras performed for the birth of the child. Why? Why these samskaras were performed under the guidance of Dhaumya and Kripacharya, so that Parikshit Maharaj can get blessings. I was looking at the book of Samskaras, yeah, the purificatory rituals for a successful life by Prema Rasadas and what is that? Sandipani Munidas, yeah. This purificatory rituals for a successful life. And there it is explained what is the meaning of the word samskara. Yeah. So this the word is described in that book. It says as perfect deeds. Perfect deed. Samskara means perfect deed. So this book, book of samskaras is primarily consisting of the translation of Haribhakti Vilas. Yeah, it is. So these samskaras are highly beneficial, purifying, and it's a very sanctifying ceremony. And it is explained in that book that they eradicate all the bad karma and increase the auspicious influence of the material nature, yeah, as a positive favorable influence on that living entities. So, and we see that these samskaras are starting from the Lord himself, yeah, and so they should be perpetuated for the material and spiritual welfare of mankind. Yeah. So, and these samskaras, they help, as Prabhupada writes in the purport, they help to establish the Varnashrama Dharma, not only for the current generation. See, already we are seeing the Varnashrama system is fading off, right? So if these are not done, the future generations, so it's not just for the current, but for the future generations also. Yeah. Otherwise, there won't be any social structure in the society, and it will lead to utter chaos in the society. Yeah. So and we can also say, well, in Kali Yuga nothing works, just chant the holy names by all this, right? But it is explained that in the neophyte stage, I cannot chant the holy name of the Lord purely without offense. Yeah. So we require some time to chant purely, and for the name to reveal itself to us, its full spiritual power and efficiency. Yeah, so because I'm so contaminated at this stage and I'm not chanting properly, so it is recommended. So these samskaras, what is the right word? They can act as stimulants. They can act as stimulants to accelerate our chanting and progress quickly. In the neophyte stage, I am at the practicing stage, right? I'm at the practicing stage. So it is not pure bhakti. It is not pure bhakti. So and devotional service has to be pure. So to get to that point, we need this. We need this. And we'll talk about the Pancharatrika system also that Prabhupada is discussing here, which is primarily deity worship. Yeah. So so it's very important from practicing stage to pure bhakti stage. To get to that, we need these. Yeah. So if samskaras are performed, and we can see, right, this, I am old now, but children and my children and their children, right, the next generation, they will be more qualified. They'll be more qualified if these samskaras are performed. Then, in addition, they know the Yuga Dharma is chanting of the holy names, right? We all know it is a chant. But when they also are aware of these samskaras and they go through these samskaras and they are purified, then when they grow up and they become qualified brahmanas and they have to perform these sanskaras, they'll make sure that chanting is also happening there at that time. It doesn't just become a ritual, but holy name is also chanted as part of this ceremonies. Yeah. So am I making sense? Yeah. Are you all able to follow me?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, so chanting will be systematically introduced in all these ritualistic ceremonies. So samskaras and chanting can go hand in hand. And Prabhupada discusses the 16 different samskara. Of course, we also know that it may not be practically, why Prabhupada writes it's not practically feasible. Some of these things we'll discuss a little later. But all the different 16 different samskaras are there. Prabhupada just mentions a few in the purport today. Yeah. So, and he also points out the first line of the purport. Yeah. It says that, uh, um, let me see if I can pull it up. Yes. The purports, there is a need for a good and intelligent class of brahmanas who are expert in performing the purificatory processes prescribed in the system of varnashrama. There is a need. Yeah. So the point here is, and also Prabhupada writes in the purpose, so much depends on good breeding. Yeah. So for progressive civilization, there should be a social system such that everything points to spiritual advancement. So all of these samskaras, everything that we do is to help whoever they are in their varnashrama to gradually make advancement, to the point where we can come to the platform of doing pure bhakti. Yeah, that is the purpose here. Now, for example, marriage. Yeah, the marriage is arranged so that the suitable boy and girl are coming together. It should be arranged for good progeny, as Prabhupada explains, not for trying out, let's check out this, living relationships or for some partnership. No, it is for spiritual progress. And when there is pregnancy, then again there are these Garbhadan samskara and all these samskaras are performed. Yeah, they are meant to impress in the mind the goal of spiritual realization. That is the whole purpose for Krishna consciousness, for devotional service. Yeah. So when this system is followed, naturally progeny will be high quality, right? The children will be high quality. Yeah, it's natural. It's but natural. So family heritage is there. Like you see, Pandavas, then then Abhimanyu, Parikshit Maharaj. So the generation will be there. High quality people will be born in that family. High quality of family heritage, generation after generation. But then coming to Kali Yuga, we see that these ceremonies are grossly neglected, right? Because the consciousness of majority of the people is mostly animalistic. Yeah. So what is happening? It is becoming a hellish civilization, as Prabhupada calls it. Yeah? Meaning unwanted population. If unwanted population is there in the Bhagavad Gita first chapter we read, yeah, Arjuna explained what happens. If unwanted population is there, that people will make life hellish for themselves and for others also. So this is what will happen. Yeah, if proper progeny is not there. So Prabhupada says, the Prabhupada is saying it's not, practical in Kali Yuga. Here in the purport he says, and he's recommending the Pancharatrika system. Yeah. So, and as I mentioned, these are all described by Gopal Bhatta Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Vilas. Yeah. The Pancharatrika system, and once, this Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj explains this in one of his lectures, that once a disciple of Srila Prabhupada asked, about Garbhadan Samskar. As Prabhupada is saying here that everybody is a Shudra here, right? So Prabhupada, as soon as you come to these ceremonies, you all are Sudras. You are unfit. Yeah. Therefore, chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So, we are recommended for begetting a child, chant 50 rounds before if you plan to conceive. Shortcut, simple, clear method. All comes down to chanting Hare Krishna. Yeah. So, anyways, Yudhishthira Maharaj performed the Jata Karma here. This is the first samskara, the cultural purification for spiritual advancement. Yeah. Jata Karma means chanting of auspicious hymns, yeah, by learned brahmanas. Why? They will prepare the horoscope of the child. To prepare the Jata Karma, Jatakam. Yeah, they say in South India, Jatak. So they exhibit, and you can see before even these great personalities exhibit those great qualities, these brahmanas are able to predict what they are going to be doing, right? So just by astronomical calculations, and the great qualities of such persons can be predicted and can be told to others. Yeah, so that's what this Jata Karma ceremony is. And we can see, in Srila Prabhupada's life also, when Prabhupada was born, yeah, his father had a learned Brahmana come from Navadvip and prepare the horoscope. Yeah. And what does this astrologer predict? When this child will grow up, what will happen? What will he do?
Build a lot of temples.
Sorry, what, Mataji?
And build a lot of temples.
Yes. What else? Yeah, he'll become a great preacher of the scriptures. He'll travel all over the world and preach everywhere. Yeah. So these types of qualities are clearly visible in the horoscope when it is prepared by qualified astrologers who make this prediction. And in today's, so this is actually this is a perfect science. It is explained. But nowadays, as Prabhupada writes in the purport, we don't have qualified brahmanas. We don't have qualified facilities. These brahmanas in today's day and age, they cannot make accurate predictions. Yeah, but at least we can understand through these great personalities, their great qualities are being described here. They predicted. And so regarding Parikshit Maharaj, they made predictions that he'll become a great devotee of the Lord. And you can, I was just thinking about this, that how, I am a parent and it's not easy, so how a family members raise children with special care, uh, uh, Yudhishthira Maharaj did not consider Parikshit Maharaj to be any abnormal child, nor Prabhupada's father. Yeah, but nowadays, if the child is not materially intelligent, or if he does not have a desire to become materially successful, I also sometimes, think of this. My parents used to get so worried when I was a kid. What will happen? My mother is a school teacher. She was so strict. She would scold me and say, if you don't study properly, when you grow up, you will not be fit to even beg on the streets. This is how she would scold me every day. Until one day I said, okay, I'm done socializing with this outside world. I won't be playing anymore. But every day she would scold me. The point is, if the child is not materially intelligent, parents get anxious, worried. But the point is, if they are sincerely Krishna conscious, if the child, especially by birth, we see, right, some children are so Krishna conscious right from their birth. They are the most intelligent. They are the most intelligent of all. If they are present, such qualities are present in the childhood, means what? They are carrying it from previous life, right? They are carrying their samskaras from previous life. And this is the permanent asset. It's an asset, permanent asset for eternity. Sorry, what time is it?
It's 8:36,
8:30.
Prabhu. So
Oh,
you're okay. Go ahead.
okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the India time and trying to calculate. So thank you. So yes. So these samskaras, they are never lost. They are never lost. They are eternally carried through. And in the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 40, Krishna says, Neha Vikramana sosti pratyavayo na vidyate swalpam apyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Yeah, so that little advancement will protect us from the greatest danger. And the greatest danger is degradation to lower species, thereby losing the opportunity for perfection of human form of life. Yeah. So all this just emphasizes the importance of samskaras. Yeah. So and we can also, Prabhupada here discusses into the purport. I'll try to keep this brief because we can also discuss a little bit of, since it's Lord Balram's appearance day. So Prabhupada writes here, right, in this Kali Yuga, everybody is a Shudra. So sometimes people get offended. Have you come across when, if you have said this, some people get offended of this statement? Yeah. So we can understand that by birth, everyone is designated or considered not qualified yet. Samskarat vidamuchyate. By samskaras, one becomes twice born or qualified. Qualified for studying the Vedas, Jata Karma Sanskara, Garvadan Sanskara, Anna Prasana, Vidyaramba, all these 16 samskaras. Some of these samskaras should be performed by all classes of people. But they have to be for all classes of people, but they have to be performed by learned pure brahmanas. So Brahma Karma Swabhavajam means by their very nature who are qualified. In the 18th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains who is a Brahmana, what are the qualities of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Yeah, so I think it's 18.44. I don't remember the exact words. So it's all discussed. He has to be tolerant, pure, inclined to study Vedas, well versed in practical aspects of scriptural injunctions, very austere. All the practices are there. Only then one is considered a qualified Brahmana. Yeah. And then when by the studies of the Vedas under proper guidance from a guru, he becomes learned. Yeah. And then the realization of the spiritual truth, the spiritual realizations. Yeah. So these stages are there in the development of human civilization. But because of lack of good Brahmanas and good facilities, it is not possible to follow all these and properly elevate ourselves. Yeah. So there is this Pancharatrika system, which is especially meant for Kali Yuga. Yeah. In this, the Bhagavad Vidhi is there and Pancharatrika Vidhi is there, right? In the Bhagavad Gita, it is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. Out of the 9 forms of devotional service, primarily our focus, we always say, right? Hearing and chanting, hearing and chanting. So this is the Bhagavad Vidhi, Shravanam, Kirtanam, and Vishnu Smaranam. These first 3 are considered the Bhagavad Gita. Who want to follow Bhagavad Gita? Yeah, just the process of chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and remembering the Lord's pastimes. Remember, recollect, recite, and repeat the glories of the Supreme Lord, His pastimes, His activities. The rest of the 6 methods of devotional service, what are they? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Marga, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. These 6 come under the Pancharatrika Vidhi. So Pancharatrika Vidhi and Bhagavad Vidhi are 2 different processes recommended in Kali Yuga. Actually, just Shravanam is enough in Kali Yuga. But as I mentioned in the beginning, because, and this is the most important part, yes, one of them can also, we can perfect our lives, but the problem in Kali Yuga is because of so much sinful activities are going on, because my mind is so polluted, because the external atmosphere is also so sinful, so polluted, there is need for other processes. Okay, there is a need for other processes, especially, and the whole focus is on deity worship. If you see out of those, yeah, the archana, deity worship is recommended in Kali Yuga. So why? Because see, for chanting there is no hard and fast rules, right? No hard and fast rules. But for deity worship there are strict regulations. Sometimes if you are in an unavoidable situation, you can chant without taking bath also. But deity worship we cannot do. Deity worship we cannot do. So there are strict regulations, and these regulations are required in the Vaidhi Bhakti stage, so that we get to the stage of becoming a qualified Brahmana where we can do pure devotional service. Yeah. So, because for deity worship, that's why you see, even at homes, it's not that strict. But if you see in the temples, strict 6 times offering is there, strict on time, every time. One day I was in the Philadelphia temple, and this senior Vaishnava told me, oh, 6:15 sharp, Deity Seva has to begin. So strict regulations are there for us, and we must follow this. Uh, so for deity worship, all these strict regulations are there. Actually, offenses are also there. 64 offenses I was reading in Pancharatrika Vidhi, but in Bhagavad Vidhi there is a lot of lenience. So and in Bhagavad Vidhi also there is deity worship, but very simply done. In Pancharatrika Vidhi it's very strict. Yeah. So these two parallel paths are there, and there is lenience at home, but in temples it's very strict. The Prabhupada writes, Pancharatrika system works on Sudra class of people, supposedly population of Kali Yuga. Reason is because proper samskaras are not performed by duly qualified brahmanas exactly as per procedures. So this we have to understand. Of course, there are cultured people in Kali Yuga. Not everybody is uncultured. Of course, some people have good habits and practices, but they all cannot follow the samskaras properly. That is why Shastras are calling everybody as Shudra. That is why Shastras is calling everybody, because we cannot follow them properly. Yeah, because we are so contaminated. Yeah, so that's why we take up the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, because I cannot do all samskaras, I cannot get qualified brahmanas, so I accept the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra from a qualified guru, from a pure devotee, chant 16 rounds, follow 4 regulative principles. Yeah, so gradually we will purify it, it will elevate us to the Brahminical platform. Yeah, I'll stop here, take any quick comments, or if it's okay for 5 minutes, maybe just I can mention the glories of Lord Balaram, if that's okay.
Please, Prabhu, yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah. So today is Lord Balaram's appearance day. And I was looking at these words from Adi Leela Chaitanya Charitamrit. So I'll just recite this, because Lord Balaram is the Adi Guru, the first, the original spiritual master. Yeah. Sarva Avatari Krishna, Swayam Bhagavan, Tahara Dvitiya Deha Sri Balaram. The Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Lord Balaram is his second body. This is from Adi Leela Chaitanya Charitamrit 5.4. Yeah, is his second body. So Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the fountainhead of all incarnations. No one is superior or equal to him. But yet, in order to taste the transcendental mellows, he expands himself into unlimited forms. And his first expansion is Lord Balaram. Yeah, and but they are two one and the same identity. They only differ in the form. uh, and the significant differences between the two is that, Krishna is Shama, blackish in color, whereas Lord Balaram is whitish in color. Yeah? And Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead who takes service from everybody, and Lord is supreme in taking service, and Lord Balram is supreme in giving service. Krishna is supreme in taking service, and Balaram is supreme in giving service. Yeah. So Lord Balaram has explained that he carries a plow, right? The reason for which is, this is a very, I thought, very important point, is to cultivate the hearts of the devotees, so that my heart becomes fertile and suitable for the seed of bhakti to grow nicely. We use the plow to plow the land, right? The soil. So it's meant to cultivate the hearts of the devotees. And being the Adi Guru, he guides the devotees on the spiritual path so that we can go back home, back to Godhead. So on this auspicious appearance day of Lord Balaram, which is celebrated on this Purnima in the month of Shravan, uh, um, we all fast till noon and pray to Lord Balaram to bestow spiritual strength needed to practice spiritual life. Uh, and he appears in the Kali Yuga as Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And Bala refers to the spiritual strength. In addition to bodily strength, it also refers to spiritual strength, Bala. And Rama signifies the abode of spiritual bliss, which is unlimited. So for us to attain perfection in self-realization, we need spiritual strength. Because physical strength will go away with this body. How much ever I have, it goes away. But the spiritual strength is what takes us not only in this body, as we were discussing from the Bhagavad Gita 2.40, even to the next body. The blessings of Baladev will Trayate Mahato Bhayat. It will protect us from the greatest dangers. And he is the original spiritual guru for all the devotees, and his strength is unlimited. Yeah. And the other point is, how Lord Balram serves Krishna. He's constantly serving Lord Krishna in every respect. In each and every of Krishna's incarnations and manifestations, Lord Balram is serving. In Ram Leela, Balram serves as Lord Ram, as his younger brother Lakshman. In Kali Yuga, he spread the Sankirtan movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as Lord Nityananda. And in the form of Shesha, he executes the orders of the Lord in the creation. And in so many ways, he tastes that transcendental bliss of serving Krishna. And without getting the mercy of Balaram, we cannot approach Krishna. So he exemplifies, is exemplary in his service attitude to Krishna. And his only mission, is explained, is to please Krishna by rendering service to him. Whether it is in the creation of the material worlds, maintaining the spiritual world, or as his personal paraphernalia. Yeah, his only mission is to please Krishna by rendering service. So by pleasing Lord Balaram, we'll be able to please Krishna. So I thank you all for the opportunity to speak on this auspicious day. As I know we are running out of time, so I'll stop here, and I request senior Vaishnavas on the call to please correct and add any glories of Lord Balram or any corrections from what I discussed. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
If anybody has any questions or comments, please just unmute yourself and go ahead. Go ahead, Mother Vindhyavali.
Thank you very much, Prabhu, for a nice class. A lot of things you said. And then out of that, you're saying that mothers are always scolding. Your mother you're talking about. No, I'm talking about all the mothers. Fathers enjoy the kids, but mothers, they are the one who takes the role. And if anybody, any child, if they are not behaving properly, oh, what kind of mother raised you? They won't say what kind of father raised you. So all the blame and children, whatever say, mother would care that she will do that. That thing I liked.
No,
But
I'm very grateful to my mother for putting me on the right
see,
track.
today you are at this stage and you're remembering your mother. And you are well in the society and everybody appreciates you. That mother gets proud of that. Mother feels proud of that. So that's what I was trying to tell. All the mothers are like that. So, and then about Balaram, and then about this about Balaram, what you said, that was really very good. And he does the service, and Krishna asks us to do the service, but Balaram himself, he does the service. So that was really good. And all the points you said, it was very nice, Prabhu. And then in Kali Yuga, we know that, all this, I see a lot of modern kids, all these samskaras, they don't know. They say, oh no, that is just, they say like that. That is your generation. They're saying like that. But they don't think that how far it goes. Their kids, it goes that far. The samskaras and other things, if we go thoroughly, purely, it helps a lot. But nowadays, nobody cares for that. That is unfortunate. But Krishna needs to help us. Thank you very much.
Actually, you just reminded me of one point, Mataji. In my own personal life, I was actually born in a Madhva Sampradaya family. Yeah. So the samskaras that my parents gave in my childhood, although very ritualistic, because I always had questions which were never answered. Why? They were never answered and that's what attracted me to ISKCON. Yeah. So the point I'm trying to make is those samskaras, when I was in my teenage and in my 20s, yeah, when I moved from India to US, they helped me. When I sit back and reflect, I owe a lot to some of the samskaras, which, I was so close to getting off track. So close, because I was so much being tempted and forced, coerced, and influenced by my friends, so-called friends, materialistic society. But when I sit back and reflect, it was some of the samskaras that stopped me from crossing that line, that did not allow. Of course, Krishna is very kind. He is always very merciful and helps. But I, I was not chanting or anything. Yeah. But I felt that, the samskaras that my parents gave when I was born and through certain age, maybe whether it is, not eating out, not in consuming anything, or for anything, alcohol, whatever it is, all those, the samskaras that they gave, were, I think, helped a lot in me not going off track, even for a brief period. So I owe a lot to them.
That's good.
Hare Krishna.
Good, thank you.
Go ahead, Kalpesh Prabhu or Sonia Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Do we have any reference or any book written by Prabhupada about Pancharatrika?
Yes, I just mentioned the Haribhakta Vilas has all the Pancharatrika system. Maybe I can share the information by Gopal Bhatta Goswami. It's all discussed in there. Maybe after this call, I can, I think one of the emails Vishnupada Prabhu had sent some time back, I can copy. I can send an email.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah. Hari Bhakti Vilas, has the details.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. For some reason, I was all the time thinking that I am on my Bluetooth AirPods, but it looks like I was never on this, and the class is over. So it's okay.
They were there before, Prabhu. You
Okay,
just now took it out.
yeah. Okay. Maybe I was speaking. Okay. Was
Yeah.
the audio okay?
Yeah, it was fine. We heard you nicely. Thank you again, Prabhu. That was a very nice class. It was a very nice purport, a purport that would actually make us think. I was just thinking about Kripacharya's history and how still the Pandavas kept that respect for him, how they managed to see those Brahminical qualities as something that had to be respected, not looking at him as Abhimanyu's killer, but as it goes to show, Mahabharata and so far in the Bhagavatam, how much tolerance and compassion we still need to work on building within ourselves. For a small thing, we get so upset. We start criticizing or we start complaining. But look what Pandavas had to go through and still were willing to forgive, show compassion. And for me, that is the takeaway from this class. Of course, your points about samskaras and understanding why we do those rituals. Like you were saying, a lot of times we went through rituals without understanding why we were doing it. And when you actually understand the whole marriage ritual, it is so full of meaning, and we have just made it ridiculous in how it is being handled these days. And it's going to go back only if, like you, we keep questioning, we keep asking, why are we doing this? Otherwise, it becomes meaningless. If kids today understood those rituals, I'm not sure they would go through the process, because they're the way they look at life and the way that samskara is performed is two opposite directions. So we have to go back to questioning, asking why we are doing it. And like it says, tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena. In humble, with humility, we need to ask, not challenging, but with humility. First, understand what it is that's being done, and then see whether or not we are agreeable to it. But we first question without, willing to look at the process. So thank you very much. This is what a morning class should be doing, is making us think, and that's exactly what you are making us do today. So thank you for coming on from India, and looking forward to your coming back. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So this evening, please, everybody join in at the temple for the Balaram Jayanti celebrations. The information should be there in the newsletter or on the website. So we will see everybody again tomorrow morning at 7:50. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Chakalpatarabhyasya kripa sindhubhyo
Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo namo namah.
Hare Krishna.